These are the smallest things in Minecraft, but they get even smaller as the video goes on, until some are so small that you wouldn't be able to see them unless I told you. Starting first with the smallest block, we've got string. Now it's so small, I didn't even notice it on the table. But yeah, look at how tiny this is to disappear. I know when we were playing, there was this one hide and seek mod that lets you go as prop hunt for all these different things. If you go as string, it's basically just cheating. No one's ever gonna find you. So there you go. If you ever want to use that option, I guess that works. What I am curious about though, if I would just get out a lily pad and put them side by side, and then let me get down to my surveying angle. I mean, yeah, for one, I could definitely see the lily pad and I really can't see this. The texture for the string just kind of like paints on. The hitbox is so much smaller. Visually, smallest block. Hostile, neutral, and passive. So we've got our hostile mob. That would be the endermite. Now, see, we put a silverfish next to it in testing, and when you put a silverfish side by side, yeah, there you go. They have the same hitbox, but the silverfish's tail definitely makes it visually bigger. So there you go. Now we just got a horrible mess. This looks like when your headphones bunched up and you get like the mess of cables. Gross. All right, let's get the smallest neutral mob. That would be the bee. So with the baby bee, our lowercase b, as I like to call it, we get an even smaller version of the bee. They grow up so fast. Another case that Observer brings up, the pufferfish as a neutral mob, it can hurt you. This one won't, it's no AI. If you count that as neutral, oh, now it's no alive. If you count it as neutral, then it would be smaller than the bee. The game actually counts it as passive. And then we've got our passive mob. The baby chicken, because of the head, looks a lot bigger, but we got the hitboxes turned on. Look at how small that hitbox is. It doesn't think that it can go through half block spaces, but if we line this up, it most certainly could. It could fit under here. It just won't pathfind through there. Oh, it's the baby turtle. Baby turtle does end up being the smallest entity that's naturally occurring. Look at it next to an item. That's so sad. And then you can turn it into a bowl. That's horrible. There you go. Yeah, really get up close and personal with it. I guess we could leave it be. I mean, it's not like it's gonna be a big disturbance. Here we've got the smallest item sprite. So we're gonna count through. These are the ones that you would assume that it would be, right? So these ones are 34 pixels. We've got the brown mushroom, the gas tier, and the iron nugget. I would have figured gas tier would be the smallest. So those ones already out of the running. Let's see if we can get smaller here. For some reason, a red mushroom is smaller than a brown mushroom. one pixel shorter in the stem. Look at that. Well, I was always told that size didn't matter. And then we've got the small amethyst bud, and I definitely wouldn't have picked dandelion here. I guess because it's not complete, but yeah, look, you count it up. Amethyst bud, that definitely makes sense. That looks tiny. All right, what are we going on to 30 pixels here? Seeds, yeah, I guess so, because they're all splayed apart. Redstone torch is shocking to me, but that's gotta mean that regular torch is even smaller, right? Well, let's go over. Yeah, here we go. On a per pixel basis, our absolute smallest textures are all of the torch and lever based ones. Look at that. And then this one's technically not a sprite. The button's even smaller than that. Can't even really see it. The smallest possible mob that we can ride. Yeah, there we go. You can't even see it. I'm trying to keep it warm. If you want to make seats, this actually is a pretty solid way to do it. I've never noticed this. If you made like invisible baby turtles for everyone to sit on, it would be horrendous, but it looks like I'm sitting on the sand here. Oh look, I'm scooting along. I'm like a dog. So that's the smallest mount if we're using commands. Technically the smallest mount would be like the pig. Yeah, this one always cracks me up because of the little legs. And my like feet crop out its eyes. It gets Herobrine eyes. That's so weird. But sure enough, that would be the smallest mount that used to be in the game. And this is the smallest thing that you could possibly ride because I mean, it's the smallest mob. Well, here is the absolute smallest staircase. Look at look at this. So the reason that we have rabbits inside of them is so that we're not able to move them. And then if I get swiftness 2, you gotta really maneuver yourself in right here. But eventually you can scale it just fine. I promise I'm going up it. It might look all the same. You gotta really be in the center of the model. So this is all speed based. So look at this. We've got like exactly 1 pixel of staircase to move up here. This is ridiculous. Imagine taking this to build limit. You're like late for work. You're like, oh man, I can't believe I work on the 36th floor. Another swiftness potion. All right, here we've got, oh, it's a name tag that's like folded up. Because we're talking about the smallest names. So obviously we've got the 3-letter ones. We've got egg, ice, TNT, and mud. So these are the smallest possible names that naturally occur in Minecraft. So this one is the smallest possible tool in Minecraft. So I would have guessed it would be a hoe or a flint and steal, but Observer's gonna give me the answer here. The shovel's smaller than a hoe? I am gobsmacked. I guess, yeah, you go count it. I would have figured these little extra pixels down here. You know, you got more visible diamond up there. Smallest possible tool is the shovel. All right, Observer. There's been a lot of discourse about small updates in Minecraft, so let's add some more fuel to the fire. So we've got 1.10, the Frostburn update. Now that only added in bone blocks, magma blocks, nether warp blocks, red nether bricks, structure voids, not even structures as a whole, and polar bear spawn eggs. Yeah, that's during the dark ages where no one was really playing Minecraft as much. I get it. All right, 1.15, the Buzzy Bees update. This one gave us 7 different things, all of them bee related, but I mean, honey blocks had a big purpose, so even if it was a small thing, it had a little bit more of an impact. And then technically 1.18, the Caves and Cliffs update part 2. It was a full numbered update, only gave us 1 new item, other side music disc. Yeah, I mean, it also completely overhauled how the game looks, but if you're talking about just pure additions to items, mobs, or blocks in the game, yeah, because they all came into the first part of Caves and Cliffs. Moving on to number 10, we've got the smallest gap in between updates. Alrighty, now if we're talking about major updates, the smallest gap was between 1.1 and 1.2. There was only 49 days. Now 1.1 added in, by the looks of it, spawn eggs. 1.2.1 added in our jungle biomes. There's some updates that only take, you know, like a day separating them or whatever. When Notch was developing the game, sometimes you would get multiple updates within the same day, but that was all in-dev early phases stuff. Here we've got the smallest farm. This one's made by a folk that we're gonna call Noob from the Nether, but basically the idea here is that we've got the egg farm is technically the smallest farm in the game. So if we go up high into the air, composter, rail, minecart, and we gotta get our piston to push it in, and then a button, and now it's technically the farm. Then you just add your own chicken. We're gonna do it with spawn eggs. You'd use regular eggs in survival. Okay, we've found the limit. Look, this is gonna double as a chicken farm in this case. So then all your eggs would fill up. Yeah, there we go. We got our first egg. Oh my gosh. Observer, everyone was having problems. This is how we're gonna solve the egg crisis. Number 12, we've got the smallest usernames. Bam. We've got F, G, X, and 8. Okay, having it themed around the number 8 for getting the username 8, that's fun. Whoever has this, they win the contest in mine. They even went to Minecon 2012. Look at that. Now, supposedly there are more one-character names, a lot of them just owned by Mojang, so that they kind of keep away from having a secondhand market for these. But these are the only ones that we could find viewable on NameMC. Yeah, nowadays they don't even let you make it. Oh, we got interference on the field from the baby turtle. Nowadays, the minimum is like 3, but those are all taken up. People have bought so many accounts of this game. Here we've got ourselves the smallest plant. Observer, you take a pumpkin seeds, I'll take a melon seed, and then we plant them. That's 2 pixels. Very, very tiny. Oh yeah, look at the hitbox for it. It only goes over 1 of them. Wow, I guess the other one's not as important, huh? Yeah, there's our mushroom. Small, but it's not the smallest. Flower petals, those are pretty small, you know, especially if you're looking at like one of these little pluses here. Brown mushroom, if I'm right, should be bigger than the red mushroom. Yeah. The melon and pumpkin seeds, those end up being the smallest. The smallest command. First of all, great command block here, Observer. And the smallest command is /W. That's the whisper command. So that's like /message. Okay, so it's an incomplete command. Longest, like actual complete commands would be /seed, /help, /list, and so on. Those all will actually give you info when you type them out. But /W is technically the smallest command possible. Here we've got ourselves the smallest amount of XP from any item that you can cook in a furnace is from kelp. Sure enough, if we're cooking up our kelp, it only gives you what, 0.1 experience? It's pitiful. Yeah, it doesn't even give you it on the bar visually. All right, let's try smoking 3 kelp at once. All right, here we go. It's so small that you don't even get experience most of the times that you're cooking it. It's also the thing that takes the shortest amount of time to eat. The smallest achievement name. So the smallest of these, Wax On. So Wax On, the smallest achievement name in the game. Even if they got small names, they're not always easy to get. The smallest armor. So visually, when wearing it, got either netherite boots or chainmail boots. Now, chainmail boots are kind of funny because if you're counting up pixels, then they're definitely weird in the amount of pixels that they've got. Yeah, standard iron boots and other boots like this actually have a complete wraparound like so. But netherite boots, they just kind of lip up at the front and then shallows out at the back. The smallest food stuff for hunger regain is either tropical fish or the puffer fish. Now, tropical fish is terrible, right? 1 hunger point, 0.1 3.2 saturation. But the reason that pufferfish is even worse here, yeah, let's sit down at our table and enjoy our nice, terrible meal. The pufferfish is worse because it gives you poison and hunger when you eat it. So now, if I go and sit down and enjoy my pufferfish meal, the chef's compliments for the smallest neutral mob. Tastes great, prepared just as I like it. This gives us hunger and poison, so it's going to take away some of our food from the hunger alone, and then the poison ain't gonna help either. Just terrible. Don't eat pufferfish. That could be like your extreme no. That's like an absolutely not answer. All right, here we've got the smallest player size. So I'm my regular size right now. I press this button, bam. Look. Now I'm able to go hang out in my house. This candle's massive, Observer. Wow, I guess you'd even be a smaller player size too because you're only just ahead. Yeah, our jumps are completely thrown off for this. But look, I'm so small that I can actually peek inside of blocks the camera doesn't know what to do. 0.0625 is the smallest size that we're able to go down to. And we're normally 1. So much, much smaller. The smallest possible thing that we could put in an item frame is a button. Now, if you're doing like a pressure plate, it's smaller like head on. You have to really line yourself up right. Otherwise, the button is the most overall. Yeah. Okay, that settles it right there. The pressure plate pops out, the button doesn't. The smallest possible particle in Minecraft, the ash particle. Look at it. Bye-bye. It was also here for a small amount of time too. Yeah, there's that singular ash particle. But look, it can change colors sometimes. Wow. Whole lot of things packed to that one little pixel. And because this is rendered as a particle, technically it's 1 pixel that's smaller than some of the pixels on the blocks. Teeny tiny pixels. Wow, even the basalt deltas can't make you feel good with its pixels. That's how much that place stinks. Here we've got an altar. You shouldn't have. All right, let's summon it in. I stepped back, expecting that the button didn't work. It sure is there. The smallest text display possible. Let's go up and look at this right head on. There you go. That's good advice, though. I guess if you had it say sub, it would be even smaller. That's 1/10 of the normal scale. We can make it 1,000th, according to Observer, and it's gone. Oh, I see it. Okay, there it is. There it is. I can even zoom in on it. Subscribe! Well, that's the smallest text we can get in the game. Here is the smallest, with the fishing line specifically. It's 1 pixel. That's a good point. The line is thicker on the item sprite than it is when you cast it. Here we've got, I believe, the smallest you could possibly render. Little tiny diamond block. All my riches. Teeny, teeny, teeny. Oh, I see it. I see it. I'm zooming in. My hand is too shaky at this zoom level. There we go. I found it. What I am curious about, Observer, let's get the scale attribute out and let's get a shulker on. I want to see the smallest collidable technically. So if we get a shulker and we make him small, yeah, look, I could step up a little bit on the block. So technically the smallest walkable block would be a tiny, tiny shulker. So you even raise up when you stand on it. That's funny. And with that, folks, YouTube thinks that you might like this video. So see if they're right and have a good one. All right.